There are some places in the world that really take you by surprise, and Girona, Spain was one of those places for me. Today, I'm going to show you some of the amazing city of Girona, go over the cost of living and the home prices too. Whether you're considering a visit or maybe a place to live for a while, we'll look at all that Girona has to offer. And if you're a Game of Thrones fan, stick around. Hi, my name is Nicole. Welcome to my channel, Travel to Money, where I help you learn about how to travel, adventure, and have fun on the road to financial independence, especially if you want Spain to be a big part of that. Girona, Spain is just inland from the coast, about an hour drive northeast of Barcelona and an hour drive south of the border of France. This puts Girona in the autonomous community of Catalonia, same as Barcelona, and within that community, the province of Girona holds the stunning capital city of Girona. Like many European cities, you will find an old town and a newer, more modern part of the city as well. The city of Girona is surrounded by hills and mountains on either side, and the province of Girona is where you'll find the Costa Brava, a very popular coastal area in Spain. You literally have it all right here. Now, I went into Girona with no expectations. I had never heard of it before, and I was just stopping for the night on a drive from France down to my house in Pego. I stayed at a hotel just outside the city, which I'll tell you more about in a little bit, but I walked about 20 minutes to get to the river area where I could cross over into the old town and decided to pull out my drone to get some initial shots of the city. I couldn't believe my eyes. Right away, I could tell this city was really, really special. My friends and I crossed over one of the bridges and began to explore, finding beautiful cathedrals and specifically looking to explore the old city walls. The western walls of the city were demolished in order to expand the city in the 19th century, but the eastern side was left untouched and in more recent years has had reconstruction in certain areas, which now gives passage around the city with stunning views the entire way. There are many towers you can climb up into and different stairways that will lead you to this wall. I even wandered up some stairs that seemed to lead into a natural area where we found wild mint, thyme, and rosemary. We explored the wall during golden hour, which I'd recommend for breathtaking views and really good for taking great photos. The area of Girona is so incredibly rich in history. It was inhabited by Iberians prior to the Romans, who came in and built a citadel. A Germanic people ruled the area under the Roman Empire until it was conquered by the Moors and then retaken by King Charlemagne. Girona has had 25 sieges and has been captured 7 times. However, throughout all of this, it has been incredibly well preserved. Part of the unique history of Girona is the Jewish quarter, which my hotel concierge proudly told me is most well preserved in Europe, second only to the Jewish quarter in Prague. The first evidence of the Jewish community in Girona is from the year 885. In 1492, the Catholic monarchs outlawed Judaism, and the Jewish people had the choice to convert or to be exiled. After the exile, they built over the homes that had been in the Jewish quarter. Then, after the dictator Franco died in 1975, they excavated many of the buildings, which led to the discovery of the home of a very famous scholar and rabbi who was born in Girona in 1194. The history in the Jewish quarter is fascinating. It is a beautiful area in the center of the city. You can visit the Museum of Jewish History to learn more as you explore. The river through the city seems to separate the old town from the new, and there are 11 bridges to cross back and forth. The most famous of them is this beautiful red bridge, most commonly known as the Eiffel Bridge, after being constructed by the same French engineer who built the Eiffel Tower. In more modern history, Girona has been the site of several filming scenes for Game of Thrones. You'll find multiple locations throughout the city that were used in Season 6, including this stairway up one of the main cathedrals in Girona. One thing I noticed as I walked throughout the city were the amount of bike or cycling shops. Then my cyclist friend later explained that Girona has long been a cycling mecca where pro cyclists would come to train, including Lance Armstrong, who apparently really disliked one of the climbs outside of Girona because of its difficulty. Cycling throughout Spain is very common, and if it is a sport you enjoy, you'll love visiting this area. As far as tourism goes, because the city of Girona is so well preserved, it definitely attracts tourists. However, I would say that it didn't feel to me like over tourism, which you may notice in many popular areas of Spain. It seemed like a really good balance. Now, let's talk about some of the logistics of visiting, and then we'll move on to cost of living and housing prices in the area. To get to Girona without a car, they do have a small airport that hosts some Ryanair flights, but you can also get a train from Barcelona or from southern France. I felt like the city was very walkable and you wouldn't really need a car to get around unless you were wanting to visit areas outside of the city. Renting cars in Europe can be very inexpensive, depending on where you are. If you are looking to rent a car, be sure to check out the links I use to rent cars in Spain. My latest car rental in Spain that I'm currently using right now was for a small SUV for 2 weeks for just €130. That's less than €10 per day. Many of my links are affiliates, meaning I earn a small commission when you use them and it doesn't cost you anything extra. So thank you in advance for helping to support the channel in that way. Okay, on to places to stay. I looked at both Airbnb listings and hotels for my one-night stay. I was traveling with two friends, so we needed a place for 3 people. Generally, I find Airbnb to be less expensive for longer stays, but in this case, a hotel was the best option. We booked a room with Hotel Costa Bella that had 3 twin beds for $120 for the night. That would make it probably the most expensive hotel I've ever booked in Spain, but it was for more people, and honestly, it was a really wonderful stay. The hotel is technically classified as a 3-star hotel, but almost all of the reviews are 5 stars, and I would give it 5 stars as well. The staff were lovely, everything was clean, the room was comfortable with coffee and tea options, and a beautiful bathroom with a bathtub. The hotel has a restaurant with breakfast available for as little as $13 if booked in advance, and it has an honesty bar where you can help yourself throughout the day and fill out a slip of what you've taken so it can be charged to the room. The hotel had a lovely pool, a small gym and sauna, and even had a small library. I would stay there again in a heartbeat. Parking was included in the stay too. The hotel was on the main road as you enter Girona and was only a 20-minute walk to the old town. There was also a massive natural park for a beautiful outdoor space as you enter the main part of the city, and lots of parking, although the parking seemed pretty full. We only had one meal during our stay, and I was surprised that in a touristy area, the prices were still really affordable. We really went for it, and for our table had 2 appetizers, 4 entrees, 2 beers, and a jar of sangria, and our total was only €53. It was delicious. Well, now that we've taken a peek at some pricing in Girona, let's take a look at the cost of living. Being in the same region of Barcelona, I'm going into this expecting it to be less expensive than Barcelona, but more expensive than some other areas in Spain, like the Valencia region where I live. From the site nombeo.com and the comparison they did between Barcelona and Girona, the cost of living in Girona without rent is 18.7% lower than in Barcelona. I was actually surprised when I did a comparison between Girona and the city of Valencia. The overall cost of living was only slightly higher in Girona than in Valencia, less than 3%. But restaurant and grocery prices are actually lower in Girona. Of course, Valencia is a much bigger city, which explains that some. But if I had guessed before, I would have imagined that everything in the Catalonia region would be more expensive. This is really exciting because Girona is probably my favorite city I've visited in Spain, and it's nice to know that living there would still be reasonably affordable. Of course, then I compared it to Alicante, where the overall cost of living in Girona turned out to be just over 16% higher than in Alicante with rent included, with rent prices alone being 38% higher in Girona. According to livingcost.org, the cost of living for a single person in Girona, including rent, is $13.33 per month, and for a family of 4 is roughly €3,000 per month. So speaking of rent, let's look at housing prices. You probably know if you've seen my other videos about Spain that I often look at idealista.com to get an idea of housing prices, both for rent or for sale. Let's start by looking at some of the 116 places listed for rent. Right away, you see an affordable listing at just over €700 per month for a 3-bedroom apartment. Then we see a 4-bedroom listing for €1,200 and a 3-bedroom listing for €900. All of these so far look like very traditional Spanish apartments. But as we scroll down a bit more, we'll begin to see some more expensive but also more luxurious apartments and homes. This 2-bedroom for $1,500 per month really caught my eye because of some of the beautiful stone walls. And then a bit further, we see this 4-bedroom detached home with a pool for €5,000 per month. That may be out of reach for some, but if you imagine 4 roommates splitting that or housing a large family, it still seems pretty reasonable. I also loved this €1,500 1-bedroom penthouse with views of the river, and this €1,900 3-bedroom flat seems very tastefully decorated. As you can see, there are a lot of options depending on budget and what kind of place you'd be looking to rent. Now let's take a look at some home and apartment listings for sale in Girona. There are just over 1,000 properties listed for sale on Idealista in Girona. Taking a look at the first landing page, we have a nearly $1 million 5-bedroom penthouse in the heart of the Jewish Quarter. Now, that's not in my price range, but certainly fun to look at. I usually start by selecting to view in order of lowest price, just to see what's available. You'll see several homes in the $20,000 to $50,000 range, but those homes and apartments are usually going to come with issues like squatters or other title issues. It's not something I'd personally recommend getting yourself into. I kept scrolling until I found one that actually had interior photos. This looks pretty decent at €65,000. If you really want to get into some apartments that begin to look a bit more modern or that have an elevator, I began to find those in the €120,000 range, like this 1-bedroom that claims to be in the heart of the city, or this 3-bedroom with views of nature. Jumping up a bit further, we see this very modern 1-bedroom flat for €190,000, close to the city center. Just for fun, we can look at the most expensive listings, which include a 12-bedroom home for $5 million, surrounded by orchards with a swimming pool and solar power, or the 10-bedroom home for $3.5 million that to me looks more like traditional luxury, and it boasts architecture dating back to 1588. Maybe one day, my friends. If you enjoy videos about Spain, be sure to watch this video about Alicante or this video about my renovation in Pago, Spain.